Begin afresh every morning. Devotional thoughts for women.
Hello, my dear friends. The topic for today, January 4th, 2023, is entitled Darkness and Abram's Fear. The scripture reading is taken from Genesis chapter 15, verse 12. Now, when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, horror and great darkness fell upon him. Abram asked God for a sign to confirm his promise of giving him land and an heir. God asked him to sacrifice a cow, a goat, a sheep, and 2 kinds of doves. Abram killed the animals and offered them in sacrifice, but the offering was not consumed. When nightfall came, God caused Abram to fall into a deep sleep. He was overcome with fear, sadness, and doubt. Have you ever felt like God has spoken to you, but you don't dare say anything about it because you don't know whether it is just a product of your own thoughts or of your own imagination? Abraham had obeyed, but he was filled with fear and in deep darkness. He was afraid that God had not accepted his offering, and he couldn't understand why it had not been consumed. He was afraid that perhaps it had not been God's will after all. We too want to be sure that what we do is acceptable to God, and sometimes we face the same doubts and fears. In spite of Abram's thoughts and fears, God was present. God did not take away his fear, but he accompanied him even in the midst of the darkness. And the voice of God was heard, bidding him not to expect immediate possession of the promised lands, and pointing forward to the suffering of his prosperity before their establishment in Canaan. The plan of redemption was here open to him in the death of Christ, the great sacrifice, and his coming in glory. Abraham saw also the earth restored to its Eden beauty, to be given him for an everlasting possession, as the final and complete fulfillment of the promise. In that moment, a fiery torch appeared as a symbol of God's presence, and Abram's sacrifice was completely consumed by the fire. Dear reader, God is always by your side in your times of greatest fear and in your darkest days. Perhaps He does not appear to you in a vision to show you the future, but you can always count on His promises. Trust in God, even when you can't see or feel His presence. No matter how dark or painful your situation is, stay faithful like Abram until God shows you His divine will.